Okay, we're going to do a quick discussion on company stocks and net unrealized appreciation. And in order to do that, we're going to need to cover some basics. Here we have a couple of things here. First of all, this is the cost basis of the purchase price. And with company stock, that would be the amount you paid for the company stock. In a 401k, that's the amount you contributed in order to buy that company stock, or the amount the company contributed. The next one is the market value, or the current price. And let's see here. That would be the current value, obviously, or how much you could sell it for. And the final thing is the net unrealized appreciation, and that is the difference in the two. The gain from when you bought it to the current price, or the profit that you would get from selling it over what you paid for it. Okay, so those are the three basic things, and let's just walk through a scenario here. Let's say that you bought a stock, and that stock, you purchased that for $10,000, and you go to retire, and now you find out that that company stock is worth, let's just say, 25,000. Okay, so when you go to sell it, you find out that company stock is worth 25,000. So the difference, the gain or the profit, simply subtract, and you get $15,000. So what does this mean, and what are the decisions you're going to have to make? Well, first of all, we're going to look at a couple different things. If you were to just withdraw this all at once, and you don't really do that in a 401k, but if you were to just do it all at once, you would just take this 25,000 and you would get cash. So let's just, put the first scenario, and let's say this is cashing out. Okay, just taking the cash. I want my money. And if you did that, you would have, let's turn down the size on this a little bit. Let's kind of center it. You would have $25,000 taxed at ordinary income. Okay, so that's if you just cash it out. So you'd have $25,000 taxed as ordinary income. Okay, and you wanted to see if you should take a NUA, or net unrealized appreciation. So the other option outside of cash is taking the NUA, which means instead of receiving cash, you would actually receive the shares of the stock. So over here, important little note here, we get shares of stock. Before, it was shares of a stock fund. It was held within your 401k. So we'll get shares of stock. And now, this is a big difference. We pay $10,000 in taxes on ordinary income. Okay, a little bit wider. Okay, so there's some big differences here. Before you get cash, so I'll just use a little line tool. Before you use cash, now you get stock. Before you paid $25,000 in ordinary income, now you're paying $10,000 in ordinary income. Why is that line so big? Okay, so those are some big differences between the two. Now, down the line, on this one, there's no real down the line. You've already paid taxes. That's already done. But down the line in here, if you did the NUA, you have shares of stock. Well, let's say, going back to our original scenario, let's say down the line, this is worth 25,000 still, just to keep it even. So let's pretend down the line it's worth 25,000 still, and you decide to sell. Well, you're going to pay taxes again, but this is going to be a little bit different. Now you're going to pay, you've already paid your 10,000, and the market value is 25, so now you're going to pay $25,000 minus $10,000. And what does that equal? That equals what you're going to pay, which is $15,000, and that is now taxable as capital gains. So if we just go back to the math at the beginning, it was that difference is what you pay. So when you took it out and made it into stock, you already paid this. Now you've got to pay the remainder on this, but instead of it being taxable as ordinary income with the NUA, it's taxable as capital gains. So what are the big differences, and why would somebody want to do that? Major downfalls, just to go over this quickly. Right here in this first step, let's say you're taxable, at 25%. So on this first step, you're paying 25% of 25,000, right? But to pay that 25% of 25,000, you have $25,000 in cash. So you have the cash to pay the tax, not a big deal. Over here, now you're paying 25% on $10,000, but you didn't get any cash, you just got shares of stock. So if you wanted to pay that tax, you'd have to do it out of pocket, and that'd be $2,500 out of pocket that you have to pay. So big difference, and that's kind of a downfall of that scenario. So using these numbers, let's go down, use a tax table, and just do our own little analysis based on this, okay? So scenario A, we had $25,000 taxable as ordinary income. And pick a bracket, any bracket. Let's just say that the 25% bracket. The 25% bracket is actually the least advantageous, so we'll use that one just to pretend that we're fair. And then over here, you're taxable at $10,000 ordinary income. And then later, this is assuming no further gains, you get $15,000 in capital gains. Capital gains. Okay. Okay. And so, what are the tax differences on this amount? All right. I guess we can pull up a little calculator. Yes, I play StarCraft. Or used to. So here's our little handy dandy calculator. And for this one right here, we have 25,000. I'm going to multiply that by 0.25 for this scenario, and we get 6,250. So on this one, let's make it green. Can I make it green? Do I know how to do that? It is $6,250 that you pay in taxes to Uncle Sam. Okay, so that's how much you pay in taxes. Over here in this scenario, let's go ahead. It's a kind of a two-step process, but we'll do the $10,000, multiply it by 0.25, because that's still ordinary income rate, right? And so we're going to pay $2,500. All right, $2,500 plus. Okay, let's go and bring up that calculator again. See, 15,123 times 0.15. So now we're paying 2,000. Whoa, you know what? That wasn't very bright of me. It is 15123 times 15. Oh, that was right. Oh, nako. $2,250. So I did have that right. $2,250. And so that's a total of $4,750 in taxes. Okay. So what you're looking at is when all is said is done, is you're paying quite a bit less in taxes, which means in the end, this is probably a little bit redundant, but in the end, if you subtract out taxes, in this case you're getting $18,750, and in this case you're getting $20,250, so a couple extra thousand in there. And of course, as the accounts get larger and larger, this is a bigger and bigger deal. But the option for capital gains is something that shouldn't be ignored. Now, we took the least advantageous scenario here with 25% and 15%. Well, I guess the 10%, 0% is also advantageous as about the same level. But keep in mind that let's say this person was in the 15% bracket. They would not pay any taxes on this amount right here. None at all. So, or if they were in the 35% bracket, much lower taxes, 20% less taxes on that capital gains amount. So definitely something to consider. Big things to be careful of. Make sure this isn't taxable with a 10% penalty if they're under 59.5. Make sure that they understand they're going to have to pay these taxes out of pocket, and make sure that you're being careful that they understand the differences here and know what they're getting into. In some cases, it doesn't make sense, especially when the capital gain is a very big difference. So if we go, let's see if I can figure out how to go up on this. If we go back up to this, if say these were different numbers and the cost basis was 22,500 and the current price was 25,000, it may not make much sense to do the net unrealized appreciation. So it just doesn't always work. In most cases, though, the capital gains really bring in that net unrealized appreciation, make it advantageous. So that's the end of this little scenario, and thank you very much.